And I still do not have an intro. So one of you guys asked if I could do tips on how to write a certain part of the story, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. So tips on how to start certain parts of the stories. There is a lot of tips out there. I'm going to be naming a few in this video. If you guys want more, please let me know. And yeah, so here are the tips. Tip number 1. So a certain part of your story could be an action scene. So with action there is 2 ways to do it, and this is like a lot of other scenes as well. So one of the ways is you can lead your readers into the action scene. So you could give them a few important details to begin with, and then get straight to the action instead of just cutting right to the action. So an example of this would be, for instance, if a character says, once the firecrackers go off, I know what I have to do. So that would lead you into an action scene, because they obviously have to do something once the firecrackers are lit off. And once the firecrackers are lit off, then it's game on. Something's going to happen, and we don't know what. But it's obviously going to have to do with an action scene of some sort, regardless if it's good or bad. It has to do with action. So yeah. Tip number 2. Another way to do an action scene would be just to cut right to the action. So let's say your main character, they're in the middle of an axe battle, and they're battling character B, and character A is wielding an axe, and just the scene opens up just to that, and you don't know anything else that's happening as the reader. So the reader's gonna want to keep reading because they don't know what's happening. Like, why are they fighting? Where are they fighting? How come they're fighting with axes? What's the setting? Is there anyone else fighting? They're gonna have so many questions, and they're gonna want to keep reading in order to find out. So that is another way to open up a scene. Tip number 3. Another way to open up a scene would be with scenery itself. So basically what that means, it's kind of like in movies and TV shows where the camera pans out and you see all of the area. You see all the area that the characters are in. So you get to see all, you get to see like where they are and basically like what everything looks like. So that definitely opens up the scene, as well as it can really set the mood as well. And setting the mood is super important, because then the reader feels more immersed into the story, because basically what the mood means is that the reader feels kind of what's going on. So for instance, let's say the scene opens up and it's an abandoned hospital. And in this abandoned hospital, it's at the middle of the night, it's supposedly haunted, there's shadows everywhere, there's flickering, harsh white lights, and there's papers everywhere, there's blood on the walls, there's empty syringes everywhere with a whole bunch of broken bottles, and a whole bunch of weird looking markings on the wall, as well as the blood. You're gonna feel very uncomfortable, and you're gonna feel very scared, like someone's watching you, because it is haunted and it is a scary place to be, especially if you're all alone as well. So you're gonna feel scared as well as the character, and that can definitely help immerse the reader into your story more, which is what you want. You want the reader to feel like they're there as well. Tip number 4. A certain part of the story could also be strengthening the ties between characters. So when you strengthen the ties between characters, it could be done numerous amounts of ways. It could be done through conversations. So let's say like character A and character B don't really know each other, but they're both, let's say they're both training to become knights, and like through their training they get a lot closer to one another because they are experiencing like the same like physical training, and like they're both hurt, and like all their muscles are hurting, and they just and they understand like each other's pain. And another way to do it would be conversation. They could be having like conversations just back and forth, and it can just be 1 or 2 lines saying like, oh man, like my muscles hurt, and the other person could be like, yeah, like so does mine as well. And that could be the it of the conversation. And then let's say like they're both like sleeping in bunk beds, and they just go to night, they just go to sleep. And then like the next day you can summarize kind of like what they did like for breakfast. So let's say both of the knights, so A and B, both go to breakfast, and they meet up with C and D, and they all start joking around and just making stupid jokes just back and forth, and they're having a really, really good time until character E, who is training all these knights, come over and tell them to knock it off. And now like they're all kind of like, oh, now we have to be quiet, and this really sucks. But I all don't like E now because they told us to be quiet. So that's also strengthening bonds. And another way to strengthen a bond is if, let's say character A and character B really do not like character E, and they bond over how much of a douchebag E is. So that is also another way. So having like a common enemy will also bond characters together. And you can do that through conversation, or you can do that through actions as well. So let's say if character E, the person who controls all the knights, is being really, really hard on character A, character B could step in and just knock out character E just right away. That would also strengthen the ties between A and B, because then you get to see that character B cares about character A, and character A is gonna feel, and character A is gonna be like, whoa, like this person cares for me, and that's really cool. So that would also show another strengthening of ties. Tip number 5. Another way to start a part of the story could be the show and not tell rule, and I really love this rule because it is so true. With the show and not tell rule, it's basically kind of like what I talked about before, where you show the reader rather than telling them. So rather than saying, let's say, if we go back to a scenario like with the knights, where character B took out character E by knocking him out, you see that character B cares for character A. You don't have to state that character B does care for character A. You see it, and once you see it, it's a lot more impactful. It's kind of like just like in real life, where actions speak louder than words, and it's true in stories as well. So if you show an action, it speaks a lot louder, and it will stay in the reader's head a lot more. Like let's say, like for instance, when I'll use a huge example, like for Harry Potter, Fred and George. You never have to state that they're funny. You never have to. You know that they're funny because of the business that they're trying to build. They're trying to build like a prank shop, and you know that they're funny because of all the actions that they do, all the pranks that they pull, and all the stunts that they do, and how they. You know this because of what they're doing, not because you're told that they were funny. Another thing like to think about, like with the show not tell rule, another example would be, let's say like if a friend tells you that a comedian's really funny, and you can take their word for it. Yeah, the comedian could be funny, or you can go and watch them, like watch a video of them be funny, and that's gonna have a way more impact than your friend just telling you, oh hey, they're funny. Actually seeing them be funny will definitely have more of an impact, because then you're probably gonna remember a couple of the jokes, and you're gonna be laughing and having a good time, and it's gonna have a lot more of an impact than just your friends saying, oh hey, they're funny. So it kind of goes with the same with writing as well. Like if you prove that a character is funny, like through like the words that they say or the actions that they do, that's gonna have a lot more impact than just saying, hey, like a character's funny. Tip number 6. Say a certain part could be reflect how they're feeling on the inside. So it's kind of like a writing technique. So let's say for example, if the character's like really, really happy, it could be like sun shining and the birds are chirping and everything's just perfect, and there's like loud happy music in the background, and they're dancing, and everything is super fun and super cool. Or it could be, let's say another example could be really angry, so everything could be like painted red, there could be holes in the wall, everything could just be a mess, they could be tossing just everything everywhere. They could not like fully see because like they're just so angry, and they see everything in blurs, and they don't know what's really happening, but they're just so angry and they just need to punch something. So that could, like, the room would reflect how they feel. And that is also a really good way to start a certain part of the story as well, because then you feel for the character just like right away, like you understand their feeling. Hi guys, so that's all the tips I have for you guys today. Yeah, I would love to know all of your guys' tips as well, like what you guys think and what your tips are. I'm sure everyone else would love to see them as well. And yeah, if you guys want to reach me in other social medias, my links are in the description, and I will see you guys whatever video I make next. Okay, bye guys, love you.